Dueling Dragons at Universal's Islands of Adventure was one of the most iconic roller coasters ever built, enthralling riders for 18 years on fire and ice. But what caused the downfall and destruction of this roller coaster? I'm Austin from Park Hoppers Productions. I make videos covering everything involving theme parks, theme park ride histories, park ride histories, reviews, top 10s, and so much more. In today's video, we're going to cover the history of Dueling Dragons, or formerly known as Dragon Challenge as well. If you want to support us, the best way you can is just leaving a like on the video, showing us you appreciate it, and it will show YouTube to push the video to more people to watch. So without further ado, let's dive into Dueling Dragons, or Dragon Challenge, and look at the history and destruction, rise and fall of Dueling Dragons. Our story formally starts at Disney World, funny enough. The initial idea for Dragon Challenge didn't originate at Universal, but instead started at Walt Disney World during the planning of Animal Kingdom and Beastly Kingdom. Beastly Kingdom was an area that was planned to open at Animal Kingdom during a second phase of the park, but due to running over the budget, it never saw the light of day. This area would feature dragons, mythical beasts, and much more on the folklore side. During the planning phase, the Imagineers proposed an indoor suspended coaster to be the e-ticket attraction of the area. It was supposed to be called Dragon's Tower. This roller coaster did indeed sound like it was going to be a killer experience, as you would travel and fly through the castle that was crumbling while a giant fire-breathing dragon chased you around. As the attraction was getting more into the developmental phase, the park decided due to budget that they would scrap the land entirely in favor of a cheap addition to the park in Dinoland USA, one of the worst Disney-themed areas. During the budget cuts, it was reported that many Imagineers on the team for Beastly Kingdom were also laid off, and some took their talents to South Beach.
Very tough. And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
As the trend today with Imagineers, they took their talents to a park that actually allowed them the creative freedom, and they started their design work on Islands of Adventure's 6th themed area, the Lost Continent. The Lost Continent was the only area of the park that was not directly tied to IP or intellectual property. It was based on exploration, medieval folklore, and much more. Lost Continent was to be divided into 3 different areas: Merlinwood, Lost City, and Sinbad's Bazaar. The team definitely took inspiration from the scrapped ideas of Beastly Kingdom, but it was no copy at all. The team brought up the idea to management to use the idea of that dragon-themed roller coaster in the area, and it was instantly approved. The creative team reached out to the coaster manufacturer Ballard to design and build the roller coaster to be built in Merlinwood. But Universal wanted bigger and better, so they proposed intertwining inverted roller coasters. Ballard at the time had a really good track record with coasters even in the area such as Montu and Kumba, and they had the many Batman clones to go along with that. The legendary Warner Stengel and the Universal team designed this invert to be interactive with each other, featuring many near misses, flybys, and including the iconic loops right next to each other. The story of the attraction took place at Merlin's castle, and the castle was being overrun by 2 dragons, and the characters and the story elements were based on the book The Once and Future King. During the upcoming years, Universal started to tease the upcoming roller coaster right before the millennium was approaching, and in summer of 1999, the beast came and opened Dueling Dragons. As guests approached the attraction, they faced 2 towering stone statues of dragons that led into, at the time, Universal's best attraction in Dueling Dragons. As you weaved your way through the queue line, you would walk on the path between the dragon statues, and then it would wind and lead you through the trees and much other foliage, and you would mix the music in line, and then you would feel the wind also coming off the coaster train. So this was really well done by the park, and it was a very immersive queue line. One of the most impressive parts of the ride was the castle facade that was made to look like this castle had been abandoned longer than it's been since the Browns have won a Super Bowl. The castle was now home to Blizzrock and Pyrock, or also known as Ice and Fire. The dragons had been there in a long, never-ending rivalry for full control of the castle, and the coaster tracks represented ice and fire. You would enter the Crumble Castle, and you would watch a short animated pre-show telling you the story of how Merlin lost his magic and control of the castle. But these 2 beasts destroyed the king's army, and in the process destroyed most of the castle you're standing at now. The queue line was one of the best in the park, and it was themed to the crumbled castle. You would see things like abandoned furniture, victims of the wrath of the dragons, and much more. And the park was also mixed in dragon growls and sounds to add more to the experience and the immersion. And then you reached the famous part of the line. As you got to the end of the line, you were left to choose thy fate, and you would hear Merlin saying to pick your poison, fire or ice, and the line split and guests were boarded on the coaster they chose. Let me know down in the comments down below if you are Team Fire or Team Ice. Ballard designed these trains to fit 32 passengers with 6 trains, 3 for each dragon. The front of the trains were meant to resemble open mouths of the dragon, and the restraint colors matched the dragon that they picked. As stated before, Dueling Dragons was two inverted coasters that intertwined and interacted with each other. Even though they were essentially the same, there were minor differences in fire and ice, fire being the more intense coaster and ice being a bit lighter on the intensity. These roller coasters did have a lot of near misses, and one of them coming within 18 inches of each other with 3 different near miss elements. The thing I find most interesting about this ride is how the trains got to duel each other each time and the elements to interact with each other at the perfect time. Well, before you go up the lift hill on the straightaway, your train was actually weighed by the computer and then sent the information to the rest of the operating system. So when you got to the top of the hill, it let you go based on the weight, so you guys would race each and every time. Those intertwining and interacting elements included the iconic mirrored vertical loops, 2 twisting corkscrews, Ice's zero-G roll, and Fire's camelback airtime hill. The 2 coasters differed in small aspects, such as Ice's Cobra roll next to the castle facade and Fire's Engelman that dropped into the helix. This coaster was definitely a thrilling one, but how did it fare in popularity against the rest of the lineup at Universal at the time? On average, Dueling Dragons was one of the most popular and most rode rides in the park, and coupled that with high capacity and 3,000 riders per hour, it was very popular with park goers. The ride was featured in many promotional material and it was in a few movies, most popularly Bring It On, the cheerleading movie, a very core memory to me in my childhood, watching it with my mom and my sister. Just 8 years after Dueling Dragons opened, Universal announced the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the park's biggest and most popular expansion in its history, and this meant the Lost Continent would lose some land in favor of Harry Potter being built. Part of the area included Merlin Wood, and Dueling Dragons had to sadly leave, or would they retheme it to Wizarding World? The park decided to retheme it. After many small changes like the entrance being moved, the facade being demoed, and the entrance signs being changed, the ride closed down in 2010 to receive its wizarding treatment. And in the summer of 2010, Harry Potter took over the park, opening the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Hogsmeade, home to the delicious butterbeer. Man, I really do miss that butterbeer right now. Dueling Dragons now opened up its Dragon Challenge under the story in the 4th book, The Goblet of Fire, and the Tri-Wizard Tournament. So what changed? Besides the naming and theming, the queue line was essentially the same, minus the heavenly sounds of John Williams playing throughout the queue line. The line was scattered with Harry Potter Easter eggs such as Harry's Nimbus 2000, the Goblet of Fire, and much more. But this is where the downfall started. Many complained that the theming of the line and overall attraction never reached the quality of Dueling Dragons, and with the new Harry Potter theming, people felt the ride was lesser than the previous attraction. And in 2011, a few incidents happened involving loose articles, and many times these were on the near misses, so the attraction had to make the decision that the trains no longer could duel each other. With taking the signature element out of the park, this did help the safety and limit the risk of these accidents happening, but you could probably tell that the longtime guests felt this ruined the experience because you took out the big experience, the dueling aspect of Dueling Dragon. Between the weak theming, the ride no longer dueling, and less focus on maintaining the attraction, many speculated the end and closure of this iconic attraction. So in the summer of 2017, Universal announced that Dragon Challenge would close after 18 years of operation. The park saw huge potential in this plot of land because the coasters did cover a lot of land, and Universal felt that this massive addition could be added in a plot of land there. And on September 4th, fans got to pay their respects to the attraction for one last ride on fire or ice. Fast forward just 2 years later, after much speculation on the former plot of land, Universal opened Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure, or known as Hagrid's long name. This massive, record-breaking 7-launch roller coaster designed by Intamin cost $300 million, making it one of the most expensive roller coasters ever built. This massive roller coaster was a family indoor and outdoor motorbike coaster that was highly themed, or is highly themed, and told a story on a journey through the Forbidden Forest as you drive by some of the fan-favorite magical creatures. I will be doing a whole video just on Hagrid's, but to say the least, this coaster is perfect. I think it's the best family roller coaster, and I think it's the best themed roller coaster in the entire world. I have that coaster featured in my top 25 list. If you want to watch the video, you can click above, but after this video, of course. Hagrid's was a worthy replacement to the former Dueling Dragons / Dragon Challenge in my opinion. And with today, the line has an average of over 2 hours, almost 3 hours every day. As it's the most popular coaster in the park, yes, it's even more popular than the Velocicoaster. Yes, it was sad to see the former attraction go. Hagrid's definitely blends in a lot better and provides a way better story and immersion to the Wizarding World. And it's way better than the lacking experience and immersion that was Dragon Challenge at the time. But which did you like better? Do you like Dragon Challenge or Hagrid's Magical Motorbike long name a lot better? Let me know. The The park still pays homage to the former attractions such as the Paint on the Wall and the line of Hagrid's Reading Dueling Club, and in 2023, Universal featured a haunted house called Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate, where you could choose the path for the haunted house, featuring Old Merlin's Castle and Fire and Ice. It's great to see the park recognizing the past, but what was to come in Hagrid's was much better. Dueling Dragons will forever be remembered as this iconic attraction at Universal, and it's definitely missed. But which side did you choose? Fire or Ice? If you enjoyed this video and this type of content, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe down below, as it really does help the channel reach more people. Like I said, if you like this content, make sure you check out my other videos like the history of Splash Mountain on the left of your screen and my review of Kings Island and much more on the right of your screen, because YouTube really likes when you watch more of my content in a row.